Let's get it.
Alright. Go ahead and introduce what we're doing and go ahead.
Alright, well, my name is Kaimon. I'm with Cam. This is Inside the Artist by Opinionated Media.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. So with this segment of Inside the Artist and what we're doing, we figured you'd be one of the first artists we'd have on to this platform and kind of like, what we're gonna do with this. So basically what this is gonna be is I'm gonna ask you a series of a few questions that relate to your style, your music, kind of like your path as an artist, and then we'll go from there. So,
all right.
First question will be, what was the first thing that got you into music?
That goes way back. The first thing that got me into music, honestly, I guess I'd probably say Eminem. Really weird. Or my dad, I guess. I would say my dad. Really, it'd be my dad. The first memory I have, like looking back now, of me like really loving music, it's me riding the truck with my dad. My mom wasn't there. Riding in there with my dad and him playing like Eminem or Nelly at the time. It was, I think, the Eminem Show and Nelly's was Country Grammar. Like those two albums, those two CDs that my dad had. He had all the Eminem CDs, but those are the two I remember the most. But I remember just being in the truck and him playing those and like just loving it. And I don't know, for some reason, from that point on, like my love for music really stuck with me. And I mean, through the years with football and everything else, like that was never the focus, but the love for music was always there from that point in time. And so that was the first thing probably that got me like into music.
Nice. So when that transitioned, what was like how writing your first song? Like how was that like?
So I wrote my first song. Well, we used to freestyle like in middle school and stuff. But the first time I can remember like actually like writing a song and recording it and stuff, I was a sophomore in high school. So I was still not fully transitioned from the sports thing yet, but I was like, my cousin had a little like, his room was removed from the house. I don't know what you would call it, but anyway, and then there's another dude that we went to school with that recorded music and stuff, and so we set up the mic in there. And that was the first time that it was over the Otis, Kanye and Jay-Z, the Otis freestyle instrumental. That was the first time I like actually sat and wrote a song, and it wasn't just like freestyling over a beatbox or a beat or whatever. And I don't know, I mean, I just remember trying to make it as much like Eminem as I could, but like songwriting from then to now has changed a lot because I've been able to develop my own style and stuff. But I forgot what the question even was.
Nah, it's all good. Looking at your earlier catalog, it looks like you used a lot of like Russ type of art style as like what your direction was. What made you take your art direction or your art style in that direction?
Yeah, the cover art for the early stuff, it was definitely inspired by Russ, just because whenever I first started releasing music, I had no clue at all what I was doing, and one of the only people that I saw at the time doing it the way I was doing it, at least on a really big level, was Russ. And some of the other marketing stuff that I was doing at the time, I was using, it was Adobe Spark is what I was using. And I was noticing that the songs he was dropping, his cover art, I was like, this is the stuff that I mess with. Like, I swear I just saw that same logo the other day or something like. Anyways, it just made me realize, seeing what Russ was doing made me realize the fact that it was, how easy it was to be done. And so I just did what I don't want to say like that I was copying them necessarily, but I was like, oh, that works. And so yeah, the early cover art definitely was inspired by Russ, just trying to find some simple, clean little graphics, that would match up with the song. Yeah, then as it got later into the songs and all that stuff, just tried to get more creative with it and more personalized. A bunch of the cover art now is like pictures that either I've taken or like Ansley's taken or somebody that I know has taken the picture or something for most of the cover art now.
Gotcha. And so you said you like kind of use Russ as kind of like a baseline that helped you get started. What would you describe your music style like, if you could compare it to someone?
Yeah, if I had to compare my style to someone, I mean, I feel like Russ is an easy comparison in my mind because it is somebody that like I listen to, and it's somebody that I mean, I don't know like necessarily what he does and all that stuff, but like he uses Logic, he works off his laptop, he makes his own beats for the most part and all that stuff. So I know it's like the melodic rap stuff, it's very similar. And as far as what I hear from other people, when other people are like, oh damn, this sounds like a whatever song, Russ is probably what I hear the most. So yeah, that's probably what I have to say for who I would think it's the most like. But it's funny because that's not what I'm going for necessarily, but yeah, I think that's probably how it comes out.
Gotcha. What is, you think, the worst song you've ever made?
The worst? There's a bunch of them. I hate so much of this stuff I dropped, like especially like in the first year of me making music. There's so much stuff that I really hate right now. There's a song, I don't even know if I want to like, because it's all still out there. There's this one called Get the Bag.
Best days, they ain't never dreaming, so they wanna talk on me like I ain't succeeding. But now they're just feeding on my motivation like I ain't been eating. Every single beat, yes, I ain't been reaching deep enough for the verses on the mic when I'm preaching.
And I hate it. I hate it so much. But at the time, I was trying to just really pump songs out. I was trying to like be really consistent with it and make sure that I was putting out songs like all the time. And so that one was kind of forced, kind of rushed out. But yeah, I think that's probably that's up there. It's definitely, if not the worst, it's one of them.
Cool. And what do you think's been, the hardest thing with making your music? Do you think it's your beat selection, creating the beats, writing, trying to sing?
The hardest thing with the music making is probably just the melody side of it. Like music, especially today, is so melody driven. And that's just not necessarily the way my brain works. Like, that's what I struggled with for a long time, was trying to create melodies and stuff. I've practiced it a lot now. I'm a little bit better at it, but I would still say that's probably what I struggle with the most, just because that's not where my brain starts when I start with a song. But that's a really fundamental piece, is the melody and the whatever's gonna make the song like catchy in a sense. But I think I still struggle with that the most.
Gotcha. And have you ever done any shows or performances, and what's kind of hindered you from doing that if you haven't?
Yeah, so I haven't officially done any performances or anything. There's really, I guess, several factors that would go into that. Excuse me. I think for me, this goes into like me saying there's a bunch of my older stuff that I don't like that much. A lot of my music, even the stuff that sucks, a lot of it reflects at least where I was at a specific point in time. And as I grow and evolve and change in these different things, it becomes harder to relate to some of that older music. And so it's harder for me to have the confidence in it to get up on stage and perform it. And not even that, but like I don't want to, you know. I'm like, this isn't really me now. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing that's hindered me from getting up on stage, is just me not wanting to, me not feeling like I want to perform the catalog I have. So that's something we're working on.
Gotcha. And I know that you dropped 2 major projects. What are kind of your plans for some projects moving forward, and what do you think you need to do to kind of break through and take it to the next step?
Yeah, I have a few songs right now that I think are probably going to be the start of the next project. But I don't have anything clearly defined for the next project yet. I do know the next steps, it's gonna be singles for a minute. It's gonna be a couple singles. But once we get to that next project, I know what I want to do differently than what I've done with the other 2 is I definitely want to have just more in the chamber for the project itself, like as far as the content behind it, the videos, and all that stuff. I want to have more than just the music to deliver with it. Like I said, I don't have the full idea for a project going right this second, but I do have an idea for one that is in the process, and so I know part of that game plan for the next project is going to be making sure that all the other aspects that should go into a project outside of just the music, making sure those boxes are checked. That's gonna be a big area of importance.
Gotcha. And that was kind of going to be my last question, was this going from there and into the content side of things in music. What do you think there's some things that you can do to kind of differentiate yourself when it comes to branding?
Yeah, I'm a big homebody, and I mean I'm not that old, but just as I've gotten older, turned into more of an introvert and stuff, and so I have a hard time getting on social media and sharing stuff just out of personal preference. Like I just don't feel like, you know, taking the time to do it a lot of times. But I know just in the world we live in and stuff in this day and age, and especially in this industry, it's a necessity, you know, to stay connected with the people that you're, you know, trying to deliver this music to and stuff. And I mean, if you want to have a fan base, you gotta stay connected with the people that you're counting on to essentially be fans or whatever, you know. And for me, it's a weird thing to picture somebody like being a fan or whatever, but I think just getting over that hump, getting over that mental obstacle of like not wanting to share something or not wanting to put that time into, you know, connecting with someone who may genuinely be interested in like me based off of the music. Like the thing is, I kind of have a pessimistic outlook on the social media and the content and the sharing, but I think that's the next step is shifting that, you know, and realizing that there is like some serious benefits to it, and it's not all just airing out your, you know, every hour of your day and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely making a transition to being comfortable with sharing the content is a big next step. Gotcha.
And to wrap up this Inside the Artist, is there any last words for your viewers or listeners?
Only thing I can say is there's some big plans for the new year. I know it's been a quiet kind of last few months of 22, but planning on a busy 23, so hopefully everybody's still engaged and looking forward to what's coming next, because I know I am.
Alrighty, well that'll do it for that first installment of Inside the Artist. Make sure you guys follow Kaimon on, you know, everywhere, Spotify, Apple, Instagram. Check out all his content. He'll be dropping soon. Great artist. And this is also from boys over here at Opinionated. Make sure you guys are like, commenting, and subscribing. And if there's any artists in the area that you want us to interview or talk to, let us know and we'll get them going. But we'll see you guys next video. Peace.
Yes, sir, we plotted this out. No doubt it's a particular route. I was never really one for the